Hi everyone, this is Darren with Sim Nation. Just wanted to get you caught up on SNCFL. It's been a while. Apologize for that. But as you can see, we're now into week 11. Week 10 just completed. And the playoff picture is still an absolute pressure cooker. Some teams are looking completely unstoppable, while others are fighting just to keep their head above water. Today, we're breaking down the standings, shouting out the absolute stat monsters leading the league, recapping a wild Week 10, and of course, looking at the top 25 predictions for Week 11. So, without further ado, let's get straight into it. Let's start with the big picture. If you look at the standings right now, the word of the season is dominance. Uh, Sitting at number one, you have Maryland at 9-0. They look like the most complete team in the nation right now, but looking right behind them, and keep this in the back of your mind for the game of the week this week, is number 4 Michigan, Stewart's team. That collision course is set to happen this week, and it's going to be historic. Out in the SEC, you've got Georgia and Louisiana Monroe, both having tremendous seasons so far. Louisiana Monroe, of course, is still undefeated. Skelter's making a lot of serious noise about potentially really running the tables, but of course he has his own historic matchup this week with Auburn, who is of course invisible witness sitting at number 8. Georgia has been running the table so far this season. They've got a good offense, a good defense. Shark definitely has them dialed in right now, and they're playing like it. The team to keep an eye, two teams to keep an eye on right now, because they are absolutely crushing people and running the tables, is Stewart's number 3 UCLA and Matt's number 7 Clemson. Clemson just looks unstoppable right now. They are just absolutely blowing teams up left, right, and center, and I can't say enough about them. If we take a look at the league leaders real quick before we go into it, Willie Keck leads the league in passing with over 3,400 passing yards. But probably the guy we want to talk about is Jamar Trajo out of Texas Tech. The senior quarterback has been absolutely lighting up the scoreboard. 3,200 yards, 35 touchdowns, and just 6 interceptions, and he has a ridiculous 244.5 passing rating. He's a definition of a cheat code right now. Keep an eye, though, on Shaka Chung. He may be ranked at number 7, but for those insiders know that he's missed at least a game and a half due to injury recently. And of course, Maryland chose to sit him last week in order to have him rested for the big Michigan game. When we look at the rushing games, all eyes right now on Jeffrey Blankenship. He's pacing the country with 1,612 rushing yards and 16 touchdowns on nearly 6 yards a carry. Right behind him is Maryland's Simon Buford, who is right on his heels with 1,500 plus yards and also having a big season of his own. When we take a look at receiving, Joseph Masters is the guy to keep an eye on out of Texas Tech. He's a walking highlight reel. He's got 1,337 yards. He's elite, is averaging 27.9 yards per catch with 13 trips to the end zone. If you throw it his way, he's probably going to take it to the house. Now, let's take a look at week 10 and do a quick rewind and kind of talk about some of the big matchups here. Number 7, Clemson, like I mentioned, is showing absolutely no mercy to anyone at this point. Um, they dropped a 73-14 nuke on the Louisville Cardinals, largely based off a strong running game and a strong passing game. Number 5, Texas Tech, in the Big 12 game of the week, proved that they are legit. They downed a ranked Texas squad 56-41. Again, Trejo having a monster game with 22 of 26 for 448 yards with 6 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and then Blankenship is thrown in 165 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns. When we go over to the Big Ten, Maryland absolutely crushed Penn State. Unfortunately, that was Don Lucky. They blanked them 45 to nothing. As I mentioned, Maryland made the decision early on to sit Chung and let the backup quarterback Hill play, and he threw for 331 yards with 5 touchdowns and 1 interception. Michigan also blanked our opponent in Wisconsin. This time it was Dunning with a 10 of 18 for 175 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Michigan's defense is just on fire this season. So good luck scoring on either Maryland or Michigan. Someone will have to this week because they're playing each other. And then the other team that we probably want to talk about a little bit, as if I can find them, is Colorado State. Number 10 Colorado State is having a season. They hung 98 points. You read that. 98 points, 49 just in the fourth quarter alone on New Mexico. The poor Lobos didn't know what hit them. Neely, the Colorado State backup, was 16 of 23 for 591 yards and 9 touchdowns. Yeah, you read that right. 9 touchdowns. Church had 2 catches for 173 yards and 2 touchdowns. That is just insane. I didn't know that you could put that many points on a scoreboard, honestly. So when we move to week 11, which is probably going to be a defining week for the SNCFL. Of course, the game of the week this week is going to be that Michigan versus Maryland game. These two teams know each other very well. Stewart is looking to finally break through and get his first Big Ten East title, and in his way is the Terrapins, who show no remorse every year when they take on Michigan. So Michigan's defense, like I mentioned, is elite. Maryland is a buzzsaw on offense right now. Give me the Terrapins defending the whole turf in one score, and it's an instant classic. And I think that's how it's going to go. It's going to be really close, but I think Maryland does win this one. Another big game this week, if I can get off the screen, is going to be Cal versus UCLA. I'm sorry, it's not Cal versus UCLA. It will be Auburn versus Louisiana Monroe. I mentioned this one earlier. Whoever wins this normally wins the West. And they like to alternate. You can see that historically it goes ULM's way, but also historically Skelter's been at Louisiana Monroe for a very, very long time. Invisible at less time with Auburn. You see, you have the number one scoring defense against the number one number one scoring offense against the number one total defense. And this one's going to get really ugly really quick. I do expect it to be a higher scoring affair than most people do. And I think in the end, I like Auburn to win this one. Sorry, Skelter, but I do think that this is going to be one of those games where we kind of see Invisible kind of get out there and grab it. But given that it's going to be raining, don't count out Louisiana Monroe in their rushing attack. They have a really good running back in Bunch, as you can see, and I think that this one will get really interesting. So another game that I think will have relevance on the standings this week. Keep an eye on Wyoming versus San Jose State. Wyoming's not having the best of season after they made a breakthrough last year, but I think that this could be the week where they start to turn it around. They're up against a pretty weak San Jose State team. You have Gittle versus me at Arizona State. This is a game that will largely determine whether or not Washington State can make a long run. You can see the injuries are starting to stack up. Last year, Washington State did defeat Arizona State, so Arizona State will be looking for some revenge. We'll see how well Peyton does. The loss of Jeremy Harper hasn't really affected Arizona State yet, but honestly, that could happen at any time. Curtis takes on Ohio with his Buffalo Bulls, and again, this Curtis is having a good season at 6-2. Hopefully, I don't jinx him, but he is really making the most out of the season so far, and is definitely keeping his Buffalo Bulls in that MAC title hope. One other game to call out that I think will have some bearing on the overall race, of course, Texas Tech will look to stay undefeated against Iowa State. The Cyclones are still riding the high uh, of the years that Shark was there, but I do think Texas Tech wins this one pretty easily. There was the Battle of Texas of Dallas versus Houston with SMU versus Houston. This is Tony at SMU. This should be a really good game. I know Tony wants to win this one so he can stay in the lead out in the west of the AAC. You have Navy versus Tulsa. Navy, of course, is a kind of shock entry into everything. They've had a much better season than most people thought they were, but they're running into a visible witness in Tulsa. Don't like the odds, though. I think that one is probably going to go down as a loss. So that's kind of it for now. There's a lot going on, as you can see, heading into week 11. Let me know in the comments if you think Michigan pulls off the upset against Maryland or if Auburn defeats Louisiana Monroe. Let me know if there's another game that you would like me to follow up on when I do the recap next week. Let me know your predictions as well. Who do you think is going to make the playoffs this year? And don't forget to hit that like button. And then I will hopefully have a much regular cadence for giving these updates on SNCFL now that work is calming down a little bit. And again, I thank you all for your patience. So have a great evening. And this is Darren with SNCFL out.